first semester, I was vice president of student council. By second semester, I was getting sold for crack cocaine. Once I turned 18, I went off to college. Everything was great. I got pregnant with my daughter, quit everything cold turkey. There was something about your firstborn, like the pregnancy was beautiful. Everything was great. Labor went great. I did my makeup. I had a flower in my hair. It was beautiful. Everything about it was beautiful. My sponsor always says that our experience is an untapped gold mine. That we literally are sitting on a gold mine with our own evidence as to what to do and what not to do.
Hello, friends. We're back again. Here we are. We're here at Full Belly Podcast. That's where we're at right now at the good old recovery team of Team Recovery. Here we are at the Full Belly Podcast. Our bellies are full and we're on a podcast. This is a pod and we're here to cast it to you guys so that you can find some inspiration and some hope. Dude, I feel like that was kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
I don't really know how you feel about it, but if we can just kind of cut that into the beginning of every episode.
Absolutely.
It just worked for me. I don't know if it worked for you all.
Yeah.
If it did work for you, you can like and subscribe. If it didn't work for you, you can like and subscribe. Okay. So we've got options here. We've got options in life. I'm very glad that we're here, and we've got a really cool guest with us that I'm excited to give information to you guys about. And of course, we have our co-host Juan Duarte.
Yeah.
Hello. Good day.
Juan is here.
Good day.
Well, you know what? I'll introduce her now. Her name is Krista. I'm going to introduce her now. Her name is Krista. And she is here with us. And she's got a really cool thing she wants to show everybody that I think that we should just go into right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I really love the shenanigans that goes on here at TR. I really do. Mm-hmm. I love watching you guys. I love the cohesiveness and just how it's business, but it's pleasure too, you know? Matt did a caption this photo recently and someone had put in the comments, WWJD. What would Juan do?
Hey.
And that's something that I follow on a daily basis anyways. Like when I practice my mindfulness and everything, I'm thinking, what would Juan do in this situation?
What?
So in honor of Juan, I got myself a t-shirt.
That's so fire, dude.
What would Juan do?
Get out of here.
And I feel like we should all ask ourselves on a daily basis, what would Juan do?
Wow.
So I got these bracelets as a reminder to kind of look down and be like, what would Juan do in this situation?
Matt, are you asking yourself what would Juan do?
All the
if
time.
You're not, you
Get
should
real.
be.
All the time, every single day.
So
and everything that I do, especially vaping, especially not vaping, that's what I think about. When I say I should not vape, I'm like, oh my gosh, Juan definitely would not vape. How could I ever vape? Because Juan would never choose to inhale those toxic poisons.
Krista, I love you because you were so intentional and very, very clear about what you were trying to convey. And there was no form of condescension or patronization going on. But Matt, on the other hand, being the Matt that he is.
The Matt
that he is. That's all I wanted to say. That's all I wanted to say.
I still don't know what
Man, you don't even... I don't want to hear nothing.
You're so crazy with your...
Keep that to yourself.
Fool.
And
something.
Yeah. Do you know where these came from?
Juan would
do you know who made these?
I don't.
Our sponsor, who we'll get into a little bit later. Our sponsor develops these. And they're actually made out of pork products.
What?
In Schneider's Pork Products is actually the company that sponsored this episode. And so we'll get into them a little bit later, but that's who's you're gonna give a shout out to.
Schneider's Pork Products that makes bracelets?
They make bracelets and all kinds of things out of all kinds of pork.
What the fuck? That's amazing.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty cool.
I'm thankful.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was considering doing like a WWJDD because I don't know like how copywriting works or
what would the second D stand for?
Duarte.
Oh,
you know,
I see. What would Juan Duarte do?
Yeah.
I understand now.
I'm going to copyright that.
Like, you know,
I understand it.
What would Juan Duarte?
What do you think Juan Duarte would do when he's presented with the topic of California sober? And we talk about this California sober thing.
Ooh.
Are you guys familiar with California sober?
I mean, I am, but I think you should still familiarize us more.
California sober is basically a term and concept that, and this is, I hate to say it because we're probably going to get, oh, not everybody in California is that way, man.
Right.
Okay, relax. Just seriously, please relax. It's
Chill
not that
out,
serious. We didn't come up with the term, okay? But there's a lot of people, not just in California, really all over the world, that are saying that you can quit your drug of choice and use another substance and you're still sober. You're still clean. That still accounts for recovery. So I think that there's like a couple different things that we need to talk about there because there's a few different issues that I'm feeling within my soul that could potentially, we're talking about life or death here.
Mm-hmm.
So let's not play with fire. First of all, if you can stop using drugs and alcohol and just like smoke weed or, you know, whatever, I don't even know if you're a real addict. I cannot diagnose anybody, but for me, I am an addict. I can't do anything. I've tried that 100 times over and I can't stop doing something and just use a different drug that wasn't my drug of choice. If I could do something like that, I probably was just a problem drinker or a problem user, or maybe I just didn't know how to cut it off or say no at certain times. But that is not true addiction. When we talk about the disease and the medical model of what we're talking about here, that doesn't fit the script. Mm-hmm. And to be able to put an idea out there that people can successfully use a different substance other than their drug of choice is really, 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 really dangerous. Dude. And you know what? I see it all the time on people online. They're like, oh, it's been 2 years and I'm heroin and meth free. Like, I know what that means. Mm-hmm. You stopped using heroin and meth, but you still drink and you still smoke. So you're intentionally saying that because you know that if you post, I've been 2 years sober, that you will get criticized because you're not really sober. Mm-hmm. The word sober means not ingesting any substance that alters your mood or your mind. Mm-hmm. So you're not sober. You've stopped using a substance, which if your life is getting better, I'm not bashing people like that. If that's what you got to do and you can manage that, then that's cool. But don't claim the fact that you are an addict in recovery because that's dangerous. Mm-hmm. You're not an addict. You were a problem drinker, a problem user, and you've stopped doing that thing, which is great. And now you can function with doing other things, but addicts and alcoholics cannot do that. Mm-hmm. They can't do it. It's not a real thing. No,
not at all. I have a hard time because for me, I get so worked up in the thought of that, you know, I'm mentally, emotionally thinking about what that looks like. I'll become really resentful towards other people, and Live and Let Live. The program I work, it's like done wonders for my heart. And I've come to believe that I need to just live and let live. But at the same time, if I'm like vocalizing what I think about the situation, it's very serious because what we're dealing with is a grave issue. You know, the fucking, the outcomes for people it's life and death. And being confused about that is could be the difference between somebody staying alive and somebody not. What's hard though is some people, like they'll have a 2-year span where they're just smoking weed, you know, and then through that 2-year span, they can't correlate that 2-year span was a part of their relapse when they do relapse, right? And so when they're like, man, you know, I just started picking up, but I was good for 2 years. So one day I just picked up and then it got worse, and they can't necessarily correlate that had a part in it. Right. Because it's like, oh no, this happened, or these life circumstances happened. But for me, like you said, I'm an addict. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like that's just who I am. You know, maybe your clock just started rolling a little bit slower. Mm-hmm. You know, that it took a minute for that engine to get going. But that can be confusing. And then afterwards get back to it. And you're battling the fact like, oh, well, I felt good getting high. No shit. I love getting high.
Of course.
But can't be confused. I can't eliminate that was a contributing factor or the factor towards my mental obsession and my desire and my craving to feel what I like to feel.
Mm-hmm. Well, Art says it so eloquently. Mm-hmm. If drugs and alcohol are our answer, what the hell is our problem?
Yeah.
And I'm like that really shows you, if you stop using a substance that is going to potentially kill you, it brings in consequences to you and your family, it scares the other people around you, they're not comfortable knowing that you're doing these things, and you're willing to say, you know what, I still need something else though. I like something else. I don't care if it still scares my family. I don't care if it could lead to more consequences. I can't see my kids. I don't care. It's about what I want to feel, because I'm not comfortable enough the way that I sit when I wake up sober in the morning. I want to release that somehow and feel different. I'm not comfortable in my own skin. Mm-hmm. Why do I hate myself so much that I need to do something to get outside of this skin? That's the question. And that's why it's not about the substance.
No,
I don't I truly, it makes me sick to see all this shit about people. I take this shit seriously. Yeah. I take this very, very seriously, because people are dying left and right. And we got all these images out there. We talked about it last episode, alcohol and drugs. Fuck that, dude. Alcohol is the drug that's killing people left and right. And it's legal. And it's in the carry out right next to us.
Yep.
And we celebrate it. It's expected in our world today. Mm-hmm. It's expected. It's not just normal. It's expected, dude. You watch the Super Bowl commercial, the most watched thing in the U.S. It's all alcohol.
Yep.
It's like, dude, what kind of messages are we really receiving about recovery and abstinence and being ourselves the way that we are when we wake up? We can't do that. We have to ingest something, whether it's a fucking vape or whether it's a bottle or a blunt or whatever. It's all becoming legalized nowadays and normalized, which I'm not going to get into that debate of if it reduces crime rates and blah, 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 blah. What's wrong with being ourselves when we wake up? Why can't we just be us? Why do we always have to alter ourselves with a substance, with a filter, with something? We can't just be ourselves, man.
Yeah. I think that some people too, man, have, I think me and you are really fortunate with how we live in our skin when it comes to stress and anxiety. Neither one of us necessarily have a baseline that's like very recognizable for stress and anxiety. So, when I went through some mental health stuff, there were times where I was like, whoa, dude, this is intense, dealing with anxiety and some stressors. But where I could see where some people that are dealing with certain mental health things can be like, I don't know how to get to that point. And I need that now. I need something to help me now versus, I got to do the work. The desperation that I felt in a panic attack was a lot different than me before I experienced mental health. I didn't have mental health my whole life, really, truly didn't. And so I think that it's a complicated conversation to have, because I can understand where people are they're delusional and thinking that they need that or that's helping or medicine.
Right.
Because the actual span of work, the process, like we talked last episode too, the process is a process, and it doesn't happen overnight. I'm going to spend 3 months living in my skin where my nervous system feels like it's attacking me, to address this, and what me living in my skin and my nervous system is it's crazy. Right. But I think desperation, I think other people's experience and how they can model that for us can show us what's possible. You were talking about meditation, like learning how to do those things. I believe if I don't treat me and treat what I have, I die.
That's what I was going to say.
I'm going to die. Yeah. I'm desperate to do that because I believe I'm going to die. And also I got to feel the promise, bro. Like it's no longer, I don't want to die, but also I got a taste for how much I can live now.
Hey, say it again.
Mothers.
Say it again.
I don't want to die because a dog's in the back seat, but I want to live because a cat's driving in the front.
Man. Schneider's pork products. Coming in hot, man. So good.
You hearing this right now? What are you thinking about it, Krista?
I'm hearing a lot. I personally think that I myself, from experience, can't have any kind of substance whatsoever. Anything that's mood altering, it can't be anywhere near me. That's why I choose not to take certain medications. Like I took myself off of Seroquel as soon as I got out of rehab. Just nothing that could be remotely addictive. And I think with weed and alcohol, yeah, sure, it's legal, but for addicts, or for myself, speaking for myself, it lowers my inhibitions, which then causes me to make bad choices, to promote behaviors that I know I shouldn't be worrying about. And yeah, sure, you know, when I picked up alcohol, I didn't relapse on drugs until about a year later. But when people think that alcohol, you can drink alcohol, it's inevitable that you're going to relapse. It might not be tomorrow, it might not be a month from now, but ultimately you're going to go back to what you want, and that's more.
I think it's important, right? Like a lot of times, you know, like what you just said, you know, you're going to do this, like I'm going to do this, right? And we're alike. We said last time too, we're more alike than we are different. And if I pick up this is what's going to happen to me. And if you're like me and you have an experience like me, because I never relapsed, and I've been to one treatment center and got sober one time, you know, so I don't know the theory. Matt tested the theory. You tested the theory for me. You went through it. I said, I understand this guy. He talks about his life. And I'm like, yep, because I never tested it. Yo, I didn't test it. You did. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Shit. I'll test it. Yeah.
My sponsor always says that our experience is an untapped gold mine. That we literally are sitting on a gold mine with our own evidence as to what to do and what not to do.
So true, dude. That's an untapped gold mine.
Yeah.
Untapped.
My sponsor's fire.
I need to know your sponsor. Because we need to get your sponsor and Schneider's pork products hooked up together. Because there's an untapped gold mine.
Untapped.
Schneider's.
Think about that, dude. Think about what that phrase is. Our experience is an untapped gold mine.
It's true.
So turn into that shit,
literally
damn it.
have your own textbook of what not to do based on your own experience.
Tap in.
Tap in.
So, Mr. Duarte.
Duarte.
Coming up, number 23, Juan Duarte.
Hello.
Duarte. One, two. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Bars. Why don't you introduce our guests a little bit more, man? Let's get into it. Bring it in. Reel it in. Let's talk.
I got
talk
you, bro.
with Krista.
Come on. So, guys, this is a lovely young lady. Her name is Krista Henry. I've known Krista for about a year now? Going on a year?
About a year.
Going on a year. Yep. So, Krista initially came to live in our sober living, and you're 26?
29. You were 29.
29.
You're dyslexic.
29 years old. And Krista,
just a baby.
Just a small little
just
girl.
A little baby.
Just a little youngin'. Yeah. She's been a part of our subcommittee for quite a while. She's always looking to help people, just sweet as can be, just the sweetest soul, you know. And I want to hear you tell a little bit about your story, though, in just a second. But you're 29 years old. You have 2 kids. You have your daughter, who is hilarious.
She's pretty funny.
Yeah, she is so funny.
Yeah,
she's a full-blown savage. She doesn't care.
She's
ever.
Literally me. It's terrifying.
Yeah. What do you mean? She's literally you.
She's literally the most sweetest, compassionate, giving,
impulsive
human being, and yet she's impulsive and she's a people pleaser like me. There's just like the little things, but the difference between her and I is I'm trying to catch it early.
With her.
with her.
You're trying to catch it early. You're trying to help her catch it early.
Yes. So we've got her in therapy, and she, unfortunately, we take our children on this journey with us. So, children at her age shouldn't know half of what they know, but it is what it is. And we're just doing everything we can to give her as much knowledge that's appropriate for her age as far as addiction. She's an NA baby. She goes with me to my meetings. She knows the Serenity Prayer. She's my number one fan. She's my biggest supporter.
Name?
Sophia.
God, such a beautiful name.
Yes.
Yeah, say hi to Sophia.
Hi, Sophia.
That's so good. So good. And you have 2 kids.
Yes, I have my son. He's 5. That's Corbin. He likes to lick windows, but for the most part, he is
so good.
He's the sweetest thing.
Hey, I lick windows too. What's the big idea?
No, there's no big idea.
Everybody likes to lick windows from time to time.
Well, I took him to Baskin Robbins right when COVID hit,
just
right?
Licking the door.
And he went to the ice cream window and he's like, I want this one. Licked all over the window, right? Yeah. And then he'd go down to the other end. I want this one. Lick that window.
It's amazing.
And all the moms were frowning at me and I'm like, what do you
what do you want me to do?
Dude, a 5-year-old kid. Leave me alone, Brenda. Chill out, Nancy.
Lick the window, Karen. It's not that bad.
Right.
You should try it.
Right. It's not like it's a freaking 5-year-old kid here.
Yeah.
It's not like
funny.
Just Lysol his face after. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so, and where are you at in your kids' lives? So I wanted to talk a little bit about that too. And we had a couple other things that we wanted to touch on, but in particular, you've been really working hard. I see you in your meetings and in discussion when you're at meetings, how hard you're working. That's a big thing. Not everybody is trying to get their kids back when they get sober. It's not easy. It's not easy getting them back, and living sober and clean and being able to handle that. But you have been somebody that I constantly see integrating and pushing to do that. I love that.
Yeah.
How long have you been sober?
December 2nd, 2021.
Damn. So that's
14 months.
I was gonna say that's a year and a little over a year and a quarter.
Yeah.
Are you from Toledo?
I'm born and raised in Toledo.
Toledo, baby. T-Town, baby.
T-Town.
What side?
West side.
West side?
Right here. I grew up down the street.
She's like, I was actually born in this building.
Yeah. Probably conceived in this parking lot.
A dentist office. I was born here.
It's my dad's office.
Yeah.
My mom was getting drilled.
We had a Toledo native.
At the dentist.
No,
sorry.
She was getting her cavities filled.
Yes.
We have a Toledo native in the house with a year and 2 months sober. Went through TR. Works a program. Active in her children's life. And is just exuding happiness and joyousness and freedom that the program has brought. That's what I see when I see you. I remember the first time that I saw you, your daughter was there actually. Sophie was there. It might have been one of the first times. But you were I don't know if it was actually the first time, but we pulled in for this car wash that we had here. It was one of the first times. Yeah. And here you are out on the just reeling people in with this cardboard sign. It was like, was it free car washes or is that what? Is that
car
just
wash?
Free car wash. Just like you had a speaker next to you,
absolutely
dancing on Sylvania and Talmadge, just get it like the busiest intersection in Toledo, for a good cause.
Yeah,
like for something good. Just trying to reel people in. Your daughter was there. She was jumping around, just literally just like you, jumping around, smiling, happy. Yep. And I was just like, that's cool, man. Like somebody in recovery, bringing their kid, getting involved, not using, because we see that a lot too. Kids can be a distraction and they can be a reason that we don't work a program too. I see it a lot.
Man.
Not going to go to meetings, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You're like, I'm doing this. This is service. I'm going. Not that it was a 12-step thing, but you were there engaging in fellowship and brought your daughter with you. And she had a great time. She got to see her mom do her thing. So you're doing all kinds of greatness. Was it always that way? Like when you got clean, this is how many times have you gone to treatment before?
I've never actually been into like a rehab. I got clean first time around. This is my second time. First time around was 2017. I got clean, went into a treatment center, left within 30 days and relapsed. And then I did outpatient, and I was clean for 4 years, but only 2 of those years was I actually working a program. That's why I'm a huge believer in 12-step programs, because from my own personal experience, as soon as I ventured off of meetings, quit calling support, and had that I got this mentality, is when things went south. It took 2 years to go south, but like I said, eventually you'll get there.
The wheels fell off.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about life, right? Like, tell us about some things in life, because I know some things about you that you've experienced some shit that has happened in life that not everybody has experienced, but I also know that there are a lot of people like us in the rooms, and that are possibly even out there still struggling right now, that have experienced some really, really unfair things. And those things can really hold people back and not want to ask for help and not want to talk about them. Yeah. You know, and we had a great conversation with our last guest just about like real life shit, man. Like the stuff that needs to be talked about the most. That's why I said, like, man, what a great episode. A lot of times we're just having fun and we're talking about like just basic stuff, you know, basic stuff. But like the real stuff, the real things that happen with people, that's what people need to hear, because, you know, I can't tell you how many times, I think you said it before, like that, if I can say it so that somebody else can relate and want to say it too, whether they're asking for help or while they're getting help, because we talk about like thoroughness in this program, right? Like being honest about everything and being thorough on our step work, and like being able to get all that stuff out there. If we hold that shit in because we're embarrassed about it, we don't want to talk about it, it eats us up.
You're only as sick as your secrets.
And the wheels do fall off. Like you said, like those wheels will fall off if we can't divulge that information to somebody.
Yeah.
So can you share some of that stuff? I know it's not easy to talk about, but I think that it's important to talk about if you're willing to talk about it.
It's actually very easy for me to share that stuff, because my first time in the rooms back in 2017, I went into rehab saying that I used alcohol. That's it, you know, and that I still had my children, that I'm here temporarily, you know. And I that saying, save your ass and not your face, I wish I utilized that the first time around, because it was me holding in all of these secrets about myself to be more sociably acceptable while on that journey. And I ended up going out within 30 days. But sharing that dirty stuff, that stuff that nobody wants to talk about, it's not only freeing for me, but it also gives people the strength to want to share about their own demons. I own my demons today. Throughout my addiction, I've been posted all over social media multiple times. And so a lot of people know me, and not in a good light. Like with so I grew up in foster care. I got adopted out when I was 8. And once I got toward my teenage years, that the foster home I grew up in was 18 children.
Wow.
In a 5-bedroom house.
Wow.
And I was the middle child. So there wasn't much attention going to any particular person. I was vice president of student council. I was fastest in Washington local for track. I had Notre Dame watching me for cheer. And I wasn't getting the attention that I needed at home, or felt that I needed. So I started hanging out with the wrong crowd. And first semester, I was vice president of student council. By second semester, I was getting sold for crack cocaine.
What grade?
Seventh grade.
Okay.
Yeah. And then it just kind of went downhill from there.
Can you say that again? You said in 7th grade you were being human trafficked? Is that what you said?
Yes, I've been human trafficked multiple times throughout my young adult years. 17, I was kept in a hotel room for 3 weeks with a bag over my head. That perpetrator has now died from cancer. So it's kind of like God's way of making my amends for me, I guess.
I'm sure probably a lot just less, that has to haunt you, that fate, just knowing that person is still out there, you know, while alive. Will they come back? Will I see them? Like,
yeah.
And so probably just a weight off of your chest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Huge weight off of your chest.
Yeah. That's when my addiction took off, was 17. It got really bad. When I got,
what was that drug of choice that you said crack cocaine?
Crack cocaine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you started in 7th grade.
7th grade.
You started smoking crack in 7th grade.
To people, please.
And then got into the wrong scene, probably got hooked up with some wrong people, and that's people. When the trafficking began.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't make it to high school. I didn't make it to high school.
You didn't go to high school at all?
No.
Okay.
I got a felony charge at age 16. I took the fall for somebody, and
legal stuff.
Yeah. And that eventually got expunged once I turned 18. I went off to college. Everything was great. I got pregnant with my daughter, quit everything cold turkey. There was something about your firstborn, like the pregnancy was beautiful. Everything was great. Labor went great. I did my makeup. I had a flower in my hair. It was beautiful. Everything about it was beautiful. And I don't know what happened, but I got back into cocaine and
while pregnant.
No, not
after.
Yeah. So with Sophia, after I left her dad, I have this thing where I have to be in a relationship because I'm not okay with being by myself. Mm-hmm. Like when I'm by myself,
serial monogamy.
Yeah, I get myself into some shit. You know, anything bad that has happened in my life has happened with me by myself. Mm. My relationship with my daughter's father, I was doing great. His parents kind of took me in. I was 17, living out of a hotel room in Detroit, stripping. You know, they encouraged me to go to college, taught me how to drive. That's Harlan's parents. That's why he's family to me. But
you and Harlan were together previously?
Mm-hmm, no, Harlan's my daughter's uncle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But everything went great with Sophie, and then I don't know what happened. I started using cocaine again. I met Corbin's father. He ended up going away for a while for something, and while he was away, I went to use on weekends, and then it turned into like an everyday thing, just cocaine. And then when the cocaine ran out, I turned to crack. And then I found out I was pregnant with my son. And I kept using that excuse, like, I'm going to get clean before the first doctor's appointment, or I'm going to get clean before he gets out, or, you know, and to use a substance and have something living inside of you. Addiction can make you do things that seem to be unforgivable.
Yeah. And that's not like, you know, I'm so, you're saying this, and there's so many women that have had the same experience. You know, it really is wild what kind of things we can find, or situations we can find ourselves in, you know, from drugs, you know, and how powerful it is, you know. So, you know, using, you know, while you're pregnant, and then afterwards, earlier you were talking about how you didn't even want to go to the hospital.
Yeah. So to have to face reality, that's what it always boils down to for me, is I don't like facing reality once I've been out there. My water broke in an alleyway. I could take a right to the hospital or a left to my mom's. And I chose to go to my mom's just because I didn't want to face what was about to happen.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's powerful. Man, that's a powerful visual right there. Just caught in addiction, caught in the chains, bro, gripped in the grips, and knowing that a human is, you're responsible for human. That in seconds, it's coming right this very moment. I can go this way and do this, or I can go that way and do what I'm supposed to do. You know, and you couldn't face it.
I couldn't face it.
Face it.
And even after they took us to the hospital and they have you sign this form saying that, you know, we're going to have to drug screen your child. I didn't even bother signing it. I told him, I'm like, he's high right now. And even after they told me I can't leave the hospital with him, because I had this delusion, like, it's not that bad. Like, I'm going to leave with my kid. Even after they told me that I can't leave with him, I left him in the NICU and went and continued to get high. Just left him at the hospital.
Yeah.
That ate away at me for years. I didn't get that bond that I got with my firstborn. I didn't get that to hold him and like truly be able to look at him, you know. It's a lot of regret that has carried on into the years that he doesn't deserve, you know. So that's why it's important to work on. You can only get as clean as you are now. Like there's no more of, I'm going to get more clean. It's get clean and then work on the shit that's taking you back out. And that forgiveness for what I put him through and myself through is what ultimately takes me back out.
I love that.
So we're doing more bonding. I'm focusing more so on him than Sophia, kind of, you know.
Yeah.
Like me and her have our own healing, but I need to like, I have to have that with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he deserves it, and A, because I deserve it too.
It's good for you too. You have to do, no, that's good. How old is he?
He's 5 now.
So he was 4, maybe 3 when you got, depending on
clean this time.
When you got clean, yeah.
He was 3 this time.
So that's awesome, because he's not going to remember much of that, if anything at all. And he might remember it for like some random things here and there now. But by the time he's 10, 12, 15, 20, he's not going to remember any of it. He's not going to remember that. And that's dope that you get to never let them go through this again. Yeah,
that's what especially like with Sophia now. She found out, she had no idea that I was using to a certain extent. She sees me as an alcoholic. I've done a lot of shameful things in front of her, whether that was coming home and breaking things just because I'm angry. She's had to lock herself in her room a few times because I'm throwing the temper tantrum. Like she's seen more in her little short lifespan than a lot of adults have seen in their entire life. And she's so aware of everything now that now I can just be fully honest with her to a certain extent. You know, she'll try to like chime in and ask me like things that I've done and it's not appropriate. I don't need her to see me in any other light than what I'm doing right now. What I did back then isn't what matters. What matters is what we're doing right now. This is a family disease, and I'm making sure that we're all getting help. Corbin starts therapy next week, so that's super exciting.
Good for you.
It's just like healing all over, you know?
Healing all the way around. All the way around.
Feeling is healing.
So we've got these things that happened in life that you have absolutely no control over, right? Like true victimization in certain ways. That what can we do about it, right? Like we can either continue to wallow in it and let it drive us into the gates of insanity or death, or we can work on it and accept it and try to embrace it in whatever strange way that something like that can be embraced. And then we've got, you know, pain from addiction with our families. That the guilt can be so overwhelming and consuming of thinking about. I mean, I can relate to that. I can think about, I mean, just like days and certain situations and looking into my son's eyes and like, just like seeing certain emotions and certain fears and just a questionative look, like, why is this happening? I don't understand it. You know, like I'll never be able to get past some of those things. You know, like truly, like there's certain moments in my parenting pre-recovery of looking at my son, and he was really young. And that's why I say, like, you know, your son was 3 when you got it. My son was 3 when I got it too. And my son knows me today as a person that he looks at and he trusts what he sees. He doesn't doubt anything, and he doesn't remember the bad things at all. And he's 12 now. He doesn't remember it. And so I'm so grateful for that he never has to go. I never have to look at him and see that fear ever again, or that just dumbfoundedness of why is this happening? Like, Dad, why are you doing this? This doesn't make sense. This hurts, or this scares me, or this hurts my feelings, or what, you know, like I'm scared, You know, like I don't ever want to put my kid through that ever again. So you're doing this stuff, and I know that you're doing it because I see you doing it. Other people know you're doing it. We feel it. Everybody here feels it. So I don't know if you feel that you're doing good, but I just want you to know that you should be proud.
Yeah.
And that we see you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Like we see you. And God, you're a medical assistant. You're working. You're doing everything that someone should be doing, addiction or not. You're lifing, you're adulting, you're doing fantastic. Tell us about art. Tell us about photography, because that is something that, like, I see some of your stuff on social media and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing.
It's so good.
Can you tell us about that and how that helps you and what it means to you?
So I've been modeling for on and off for like 7 years now. I originally got into it because I've throughout the years, obviously with being sex trafficked or raped or, you know, abusive relationships, it kind of dwindles down your self-esteem. Like I was completely diminished. And on top of having children and not having like an escape that didn't involve drugs, is when modeling got introduced to me. It's a huge self-esteem booster. I could never look in the mirror ever. I still to this day struggle with the eating disorder. The only difference between now and then is my support's aware of it. That's what's important, is voicing things that you don't want to admit, because once you voice it, it makes it known. Therefore, you don't have to hide it anymore. And I have people who text me daily, did you eat today? You know, but modeling is it's an escape for me. It's a good self-esteem booster. I don't do it for likes. I do it because it makes me feel good, and it gives me an identity outside of my children, because I tend to get lost in the mommy role and not what is Krista doing, you know? Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, I must say that send us some of those some of the scenes and the pictures that you like the most, because we got to put them up on this while we're talking about it. Some of those photos are so creative. I mean, they're just so cool, man. I see them, I'm like, who came up with that idea? Like, where is that? Like,
who is coming up with ideas?
Like, seriously, they're just really cool ideas.
It's just two creative people, and
are you coming up with the ideas?
Well, yeah. I mean, the photographers do too. But it's fun, like creating a whole scene out of something. I was putting away leftovers one day, and I was using foil. And I'm like, I want to wrap myself in foil. So
we should do a meatloaf scene.
Yeah, absolutely.
Meatloaf.
I was shredding papers at work the other day, and we just pitched the shredded paper, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to keep this and I'm going to stack it up, and we're going to use it for a photo shoot. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but it's just accumulating in my van.
You just got stuff all over the house.
Paper shredding.
Just like random. Jordan like, I'm going to use that for a scene one day.
Oh man,
Jordan hates me.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
That's amazing. That's too good.
I do want to touch base on like the modeling. That's a good self-esteem booster, but codependency, you know, working on that is a huge thing for me, because for a lot of people, relationships, it's always an issue. If one goes out, the other goes out. You know, you have your caretaker, and then you have the one that just takes. And I'm always that caretaker. So Toledo actually has a few codependency meetings in the area. And also, you know, being a sex trafficking victim, using my body to survive basically for as long as I can remember, it's become an addiction as well.
Yeah.
You know, chemical use is just part of it. It's working on all the other aspects of your life that is risky behavior. I don't use dating apps anymore. I don't utilize those. There's a lot of things that I have worked on in this last year that have me feeling so wholesome, just to be okay with myself. I want to give you guys a thank you. Because through this whole process of my recovery, it's been, the courts sentenced me to CCNO for 45 days. I'm like, Judge, that's not going to work for me.
Yeah.
I have places to be. This is not going to work.
Yeah, it's that standard 45.
Yeah. So I get into CCNO and I'm like, don't talk to me. I'm not going to be here long. My lawyer should be here any minute, you know? And
what do they call that? Administrative release?
Yeah.
Get out in 6 days?
Yeah. It didn't happen.
Oh, jeez.
Judge Cook was like, absolutely not.
Shout out Judge Cook.
Shout out to Stacy Cook. Man. She is my lifesaver. You're like, you have no idea.
Lay down.
And so after that 45 days was up, she was like, I'm going to send you to CTF for 60 days. I'm like, listen, this is not going to work for me. I'm an addict, not a criminal. This is not going to work for me. So then she sends me to CTF for 60 days. And then after that, I'm like, okay, joke's over. Like, I'm ready to go home now. She was like, Unison now. So then I get to Unison and the clouds start clearing away and starting to look bright and shiny, you know? But I struggle with powerlessness. This whole time she's been trying to help me. I'm fighting. My therapist kept calling me a salmon. I'm like, fuck you. I'm not a salmon. I don't even know what that means.
I don't even like salmon.
And it's me going against the current. And it took me to get here and her to say, you're not leaving Unison. You're going to sober living, for me to be like, you know what? God puts us in certain situations that we may not like, just to find out it's exactly where we need to be, you know? Yeah. And I get off on productivity. So here I am setting all these goals that with deadlines, like recovery has a timeline on it.
Yeah.
And this whole time I could have just let go and just utilized things and not been so angry all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I've been here since July and I'm just now utilizing you guys. And every once in a while, I'm like, okay, this is it. I'm done. And in November, I applied for a loan for a home. And I had every intention on being gone by January. But what happened was...
What had happened
was you guys allowed my children to come for Christmas. And I've spent this whole year working on myself. Like, I'm like, this is going to be great. We're going to make cookies and make snow angels and everything's going to be so great. And then it wasn't so great. Yeah. Reality set in that I've been away for a year now. And you thought you were going to walk out of here and go be full-time mom? Like, I am so grateful that I had this controlled environment that I was able to get that wake-up call before I made an impulsive decision and moved out and then got that wake-up call, you know? So my deadline was January. Now I'm looking at mid-April. And if it doesn't happen, I don't care anymore. Because I'm so okay with how trusting everything and how everything's been panning out that I'm not a salmon anymore.
Hey,
you know,
that's so good.
I'm not a salmon anymore.
Not a salmon.
What are you?
I'm Krista, and I'm an addict.
Oh man, I wasn't expecting that. I was waiting for another fish. But damn, that was so good. I'm Krista, and I'm an addict. Just going with the flow.
Just going with the flow.
She said,
from Progressive.
What did you say? I said, I'm just salmon. I don't know what you said.
Salmon.
I'm at peace or something. I don't know. It was so good. It was so good. Trust the process.
Trust it. Just trust
the process.
Do it.
Just trust the process.
Just trust it.
And it's okay.
It's okay.
Everybody's recovery is fluid, man. Like, there's no deadlines in this. There's no. You know, like, if it doesn't happen by the time it's supposed to happen, then
it's okay.
Let it happen when it's supposed to happen.
Trust the process.
Trust the process.
Yeah.
Trust the process. That is literally the summary of this entire show right now. Is trust the process. You know, there's some, again, things that happen early on in life, things that happen later in life. Why? How? I don't know. Trust the process,
dude.
Because just for today, everything seems like it's going okay. You know,
it's going great.
You know, before the show,
just turn my head upside down.
You know, I'm good. I'm happy. I'm content. I meditated this morning. Sounds like a great day.
It was a great day.
Sounds like a great fucking day, dude.
And you rode a bike.
I rode the gravity bike at Imagination Station for one of the groups today. And there is video footage of me crying. I swear they were tears of joy, though.
Trust the process.
Trust the process.
Trust the gravity bike. That's amazing.
Part of my hiccup right now is I got my CDCA certification, but I can't turn it into the board until I'm off probation.
When are you off probation?
I don't, I meet with him in August.
Okay.
I mentioned to him that I needed to turn that in, and he said, well, how soon can you turn it in? after you're off. I'm like, as soon as you sign the papers. And he did a, huh. So I'm hoping that
Who
was
this
like
is your judge?
My probation officer.
Your probation officer?
Mm-hmm. So in the meantime, I'm working on my peer support certification also, because I want to have that mental health aspect as well. So I'm doing that. And then I'm also taking in donations for clothing and distributing through clients? Various clients here, clients at other treatment centers.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So I've been having a lot of drop-offs for that. I'm trying to be as involved as I can while still carrying out my process, you know?
Yeah, without taking on too much.
Yeah.
Trust the process.
Trust the process. Not the outcome, but the process.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm very, very happy.
Yes.
I feel good about this right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Thanks
I feel like we
me.
had such good guests today that were just so, and like when I tell you, thank you for coming too. I'm like, thank you for coming here in the middle of a day. And thank you for sharing that. Are you kidding me? Like this is going to be on the internet.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. That is for a good purpose, for a good reason, for a good outcome. Like, my God, that's the direction of people just being open and talking about things. I'm happy that like that is happening because it is so needed. It is. I really do believe that it's so needed. Somebody will watch this, man. It'll inspire somebody. I guarantee it. I know it for a fact. There's no way for us to measure it and see. I just know somebody will see this and be affected in a good way.
Just bearing the truth.
I know it.
I remember the first NA meeting that I was sitting in, and I actually listened. It was a lady, she was sharing her story, and it was literally identical to mine. And ever since then, I want people to know, like, you're not alone. Like, we all do fucked up shit. I'm the poster child for fucked up shit. A lot of you can look me up. Google my name, Krista Henry. I made the front page of 13 ABC for kicking an officer. My mugshot, everything.
Allegedly.
And
remember, we're trying to get the probation officer to let us go. Allegedly, it didn't happen.
It actually ended up being Thomas's sister.
What a small world, man. That's so crazy. That's so crazy.
I just want to hang out with her because I'm actually grateful for her too, because one, you press charges, which is great, but she was sympathetic about it too. You know?
Yeah.
She was very sympathetic about it.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God.
To get a sentence to something you have no recollection of is a scary thing.
Absolutely.
Like, very scary.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know what you can do about it?
What?
Trust the process.
Trust the process. Yes.
I want to thank you again. Seriously, thank you for coming. It was very nice to spend some time with you. I want to thank our guests for watching us. I want to thank our co-host, Juan, who just seems to be flabbergasted over there and impacted in a very, very strong way right now. I can see it on you.
What would Juan do?
I can see it. I can tell that you are affected. I don't know if it's because you haven't vaped today or if it's because Krista just touched your heart. And because Krista touched my heart.
And he's holding.
Yeah, he's got gas. He's a gaseous human right now.
I got a fart.
But seriously, if this is you, if this is somebody that you know and love, I don't care if we can help or not. Our goal is to try to get somebody some help. We have a hotline, 419-561-LIFE. You can call us at any time. We have a really good list of resources to try to get people help. And share this podcast. Please share this podcast so that somebody can see it, somebody can listen to it on a variety of different platforms and ultimately find some help. We have a link in our bio for all of our different social platforms. Please like and subscribe. Share that information. This was a fantastic episode. Before we do go, I think that it's really, really important that we give our sponsors some love from Schneider's Pork Products. They make these awesome wristbands and they do a lot of other things. So Juan, why don't you go ahead and give a nice shout out to the good folks over at Schneider's Pork Products.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely, dude. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Krista. I appreciate you very much. First and foremost, I just want to acknowledge the ingenuity that the human mind has, the freaking insane imagination that's going on at Schneider's Pork Belly Products and more. These suckers made these bracelets, dropped them out of heaven, straight up out of the pig fat, pig toes and pig ears. You do that, that's a sustainable resource because pigs are everywhere. You got pigs everywhere around here. I got a good friend. His name's Marty McDowell. He comes from Australia, but he's originally from Ireland, and he's a Greenlander native. And I tell you what, them Greenlanders, you don't hear about them because they're too far north and too far west to be east. And if you can't find your way back home, then you're not going to find your pigs, but they got a lot of pigs. That's one thing I know. And Schneider himself is coming from Greenland, Austin town. Bring it down and around, man. So if you want to call this number to get a hold of Schneider's, you're going to get a fancy. Put it on your prancy. Bag of bracelets for free from Schneider's. Directly contact them at my phone number, 419-283 blank to the blankety blank. Thought I was going to do it, but I didn't. Or you can email me at juan@theplacenotherenow. Thanks, guys.
.org.
.org me. Don't vape.
Yeah.
Don't vape.
Don't vape.